Clymer, the Communications Coordinator from the Bethlehem Area School District, and this year we're doing a series on community members that are built by Bethlehem, and today we're joined by Justin Amann.
Yes.
Justin, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Justin is the new Executive Director for the Foundation for the Bethlehem Area School District, and Justin is built by Bethlehem.
I am.
So Justin, can you tell us what schools you went to?
Sure, so I started off at Spring Garden Elementary School, went to Northeast Middle School, and then came here to Liberty High School.
And at Spring Garden Elementary School, do you remember your kindergarten teacher?
I do, Mrs. D'Amelio, and we're still in touch. I just talked to her recently, actually, so yes. Oh, I loved being a safety guard. I was one of the members that helped people cross the street in the morning and afternoon. That was one of my favorite memories of being at Spring Garden.
Then you went on to
Northeast.
And do you have any special teachers or anything special you did when you were at Northeast?
Sure, those were some of the more formidable years of my life. I don't think many people mention middle school as being the time that really helped shape them, but I went through a lot with my family and some challenges that we had, and so Northeast is where I found myself. I found who I am. I got into music, got into theater at Northeast. I made lifelong connections with people like Mrs. Denise Parker, who's one of my mentors, and Mr. Joe Roz, who used to be the principal at Northeast, who is like a second father to me. And so a lot of fond memories at Northeast. I will always be Northeast proud.
Oh, and then you went on to Liberty.
Yes.
And you were in the band?
I was in the band. I was a bagpiper.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I was a bagpiper, and actually, that's really where I learned a lot about myself and being a leader. I was fortunate to be the pipe major in the bagpipe corps, which is the leader of all the bagpipers, and you know, they really put you in a situation where they ask you to be in charge of 24 other students, not always having adult supervision, and so it really is a challenge to get your peers together and lead them in a way that represents the band well and the school well. And so that's where, Mr. McGill, who is now retired, I really created, again, a lifelong relationship, someone who was at my wedding. He really helped shape who I am today. And so I learned a lot from him and from being in that role. Being a bagpiper, you really feel a responsibility of an institution, and so that's with the Liberty High School Grenadier Band. It is well known through the community, and the school district has two really great bands. I could speak to being in ours at the Grenadier Band. You feel the tradition, you feel the weight of that when you go into that room and you see the amount of history that's there. And being in the pipe corps, you don't have a lot of high school bands that have 20 bagpipers and pipe drummers, and so we were called on to play funerals, to play weddings, to do things in the community that you really felt like you were a critical part of the Bethlehem community, not just Liberty High School.
Were you in the drama club here?
I was.
Theater?
I was in the theater company all 4 years, and I just couldn't figure it out. And so when I was at Northeast, I was always on stage. And when I came here, I also wanted to be in lighting and tech. And so when I came to Liberty, I actually came to the freshman campus down the street at the old Northeast Middle School, which isn't even here anymore. It's a football field now. And we did 2 shows down there on that stage. On a makeshift stage, thanks to Ross McCary, and so that was a fun situation. It was fun to be back because I started at the old Northeast when I was there, and so it was nice to go back to my old building and do a couple shows in there. But I couldn't figure it out. So at Liberty, I was both on the stage and I was behind the scenes, and I did a little bit of both, but spent most of my time, I would say, behind the scenes doing crew and especially lighting.
We always say we're a BASD family.
Mm-hmm.
So have you stayed in contact with any of your friends here?
Oh yeah, and a lot of them. I mean, I married my high school sweetheart, and so although we didn't stay together after high school, we kind of went our own separate ways for a while. We ended up getting back together and getting married and having a son. So that to me is the biggest relationship that I've kept since high school. But 2 of my best friends. I mean, one of my best friends was in my wedding. The other one officiated the wedding. He's a reverend now and off getting his PhD. But yeah, I've maintained lifelong relationships. The interesting thing now, working in the district, and I've done a lot of work in the district since I left, is that a lot of the teachers who were my teachers have become really colleagues and friends of mine. And so I've made so many friendships. I think of like the Northeast staff. I've never left Northeast. I still volunteer at Northeast. I do lighting for all of their shows. Every show since I've left Northeast, I've done lighting for them. And so a lot of that staff have really become my friends, which is a really neat thing. It's quirky, but it's a lot of fun.
So after graduation and college, you came back here
I
to
did.
Freedom?
I did, and so a little bit of both. So when I got out of grad school, I went to the University of Michigan. I came back. I started working full time at East Stroudsburg University. An opportunity opened up, and I started my football coaching career. I was an assistant football coach for freshmen, and I helped on varsity for John Truby and the Liberty football team. And so I did that for a year, and then the job opened up at Freedom. Jen Wesco was the long-term theater director at Freedom, and that job opened up. And you know, when that job opened up, I saw it. I thought I was ready to be a theater director, but there's no way you want to be the person to follow the person. And Mrs. Wesco is an institution. She is the best of the best. I have the utmost respect for her. And Mrs. Parker, as I mentioned to you before, the vocal music director at Northeast, said, "Justin, you should go for it." And I was like, no, just not. I don't think it'll work out. But I did. And we interviewed a couple times, and it was one of those situations where when you left the interview, you just felt, oh, this is a fit, this is a match. So I called my wife and I said, holy crap, are you ready to do this? Because, you know, being a high school theater director is a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of time, energy, and effort. And I knew that going into it, but when it became very real, it was like, oh, we are really doing this. And it worked out, and I've been at Freedom since then, now 4 years, and it's been the time of my life. I love working with that age group. I love musical theater, and so the neat thing is we have amateur high school theater, but you would never know it coming to our shows. And I say it, our shows, I say it biased, but you come to Liberty shows, and it's the same thing. Our school district values the arts, it values theater, and it shows on our stage. So you really get to work with these students that are just a few years away from even being able to perform themselves on large stages, whether it be, you know, Broadway, off Broadway, or large community performances. They're ready to take on that challenge. So we really have semi-professional shows on our stage.
You were an administrator at East Stroudsburg University?
Yep,
What
I
was
worked
your
in the
title?
office of the provost as the assistant to the provost. So my job was to support the office and make sure that, you know, our budgeting was intact, communication from our dean's office, every administrative office that reported up to the provost. I kind of served as that liaison, the buffer. A vice president is extremely busy, and so my job at the time was kind of to filter out all that information of all the people that reported to her and make sure that she got the information she needed to be successful, and then any real special projects that she had that I was responsible for. My main job of the last couple of years was to lead our Center for Teaching with Technology, which was our support area for professional development for online learning. And so I was promoted to that role in fall of 2019, right in time for the pandemic in spring 2020. And so I had really, it was an honor to lead that group, professional development for online learning for our faculty through the pandemic and beyond, to see that through. And so that's where I was for 5.5 years after grad school.
And I think a key thing that I want to point out to everybody is, so Representative Steve Samuelson came to me when we were doing the Moravian Scholarship, and he's like, do you know that we have somebody at Freedom who also works at East Stroudsburg, and through that we got the East Stroudsburg Superintendent Scholarship.
Yeah, which was
thank you for that.
Yeah, a highlight of my young career, so to speak, was working with our vice president for enrollment management and our president, Ken Long, who's the interim president of East Stroudsburg University. The thing about that scholarship, it makes a lot of sense for a multitude of reasons, but the most important thing is at ESU, which again, my alma mater, I'm extremely proud of my work there, both as an undergrad and my professional work. We serve the same clientele, you know, the blue-collar working family. That's another institution where they go after they leave here, and we're so similar in the students that we serve, first-generation college students. It's our focus. It's an incredibly diverse school, mirrors our school district and the work that we do, and so I'm really proud that we kind of made that extension. We have I say we, as if I still work there, but ESU has a center right here in Bethlehem where we have some classes, and especially our doctoral program for education right on Broad Street. And so there is such a connection despite being 45 minutes away, that it just makes a lot of sense.
We're excited that Justin is now going to be our executive director of the foundation for the Bethlehem Area School District. Do you have any plugs you want to give for the foundation?
Well, I first of all, I'm thrilled. It feels like full circle, as we've talked about. You know, this is my home. I live here, so it's physically my home, but it just feels like I am at home. It's my people that I've known for many years, friends, colleagues, mentors, family. And so I am really excited to be a part of the district community and the Bethlehem community again. You know, our role at the foundation is relatively simple, but it is, you know, there's no doubting that there is a gap between, you know, what school districts get in terms of funding and our needs. And so our goal at the foundation is to help close that gap a bit, to put it simple. It's to enhance learning opportunities for our students, you know, promote community engagement and academic innovation. And so, you know, that's our line. You know, we have great teachers here and across the school district, and our job is to try to support them to ultimately, you know, affect our students in a positive way. And we take that mission very seriously. It was clear going through the process to come into this role that there is a group of people in our board of trustees that take that role incredibly seriously. And so I'm excited to work with an all-star team. If you look at our board of trustees, it really is like the all-stars of the Lehigh Valley. And so I'm excited to work with them. A lot of people who I've looked up to growing up. I remember I was on I made calls for John Callahan's campaign when I was a senior in high school, and he's a member of our board. So it's neat to be in that role. And so I'm looking forward to working with people who I've looked up to for many years growing up. And also people that I know just really help to run our community and are so influential. And so we have a lot of work to do to help close that gap. It is a big gap, but it's something that I think we could do together. And if anybody's looking to support or learn a little bit more about what we do, you could visit thefoundationbasd.org to learn more.
Justin, on behalf of Dr. Roy and the Board of School Directors, we wish you all the best in your new position. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.